Welcome into another live Patriots Q and A. Happy Tuesday, everyone. I'm Sierra Goodwill here with Evan Lazar. Evan, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Happy Tuesday, everybody.
Happy Tuesday. We're chugging along through this week. We got a couple questions already in this live chat and something we've talked about previously on this YouTube channel. So if you want full in-depth thoughts on Jadeveon Clowney, check it out on our website at clnsmedia.com. Brady wants to know, do you think the Patriots should sign Jadeveon Clowney?
I'm Sierra Goodwill. Oh, there we go. It has to happen once a week, right? That one of our audios. Do I think the Patriots should sign Jadeveon Clowney? I think that, like anything, it has a price, right? It has a price. And with Cam Newton, they found a great price for him to bring him in. And if they can figure out a similar kind of arrangement with Jadeveon Clowney on a one-year deal where it's really more incentives based or something that's really made to reset his market so we can cash out next year, then I think that it can make some sense. Would I pay Jadeveon Clowney $18 million a year? Hell no. But would I pay him $10 million a year for one season? Now we're talking. Now it's something that can get really serious.
Well, the Patriots do have a significant amount more in cap space. I think they went from under 500,000 to now nearly 8 million, but it's not as extensive as some people might think. What do you think they will do with this extra money if they don't make a big splash move like signing Jadeveon Clowney?
Well, I think that really, unfortunately, I know Patriots fans will hate to hear this, but my guess is they probably carry this money over into the season. Reason being, there might be some situations where they have to pay for guys on injured reserve, pay for incentives that guys hit that are going to hit the 2020 cap. And then also on top of that, you want to have that roster flexibility around the trade deadline to be able to go ahead and make a trade for a Mohamed Sanu or make a trade like that happen with the cap space that you have with the wiggle room. And then on top of that, with not knowing exactly where the cap is going to be set in 2021, having as much money to roll over into 2021 as possible would really behoove them. So at the end of the day, the best thing to do with the money is probably save it. But at the same time, it'd be nice to see them go out and add somebody here.
Well, the legendary Schmidt wants you to name all 22 starters for the upcoming season. We won't make you do that because we might need a little visual, or you might need a
right.
little.
I need a whiteboard.
Exactly. But maybe just share one surprise starter that people might not think that there will be this season.
Okay, yeah. I think a surprise starter. That's a good question. I would go with somebody in the wide receiver core. I know I keep on touting my guy, Damari Bird. I really do think that the Patriots need somebody on the outside that can bring a little bit of a speed element. And when you have a quarterback like Cam Newton, who has such a strong arm, you would want to be able to stretch the field vertically a little bit. I think that you're going to see teams that if they don't put a guy out there on the outside that can burn, just walk those safeties up into the box time and time again. They're going to play the game within 20 yards in that little 20-yard box, right? And that's where we kind of got into ourselves with Tom Brady last year. Was there was nothing over the top that was scaring the defense. He wasn't running anywhere. So they were really playing in this little 20-yard window. I think with Cam, they would like to stretch that a little bit and hopefully have some speed on the outside. And a guy like Bird, I think, can be that answer.
And Ashwin wants to know, do you have any defensive tackles in mind that could fit the Patriots 3-4 front?
Well, I think Snacks Harrison, somebody that Ashwin is mentioning here. Is he in Boston? Is he not in Boston? I've been working to try to confirm that. He keeps on sending out tweets that are very cryptic, like he's in the New England area. So I think he's a perfect fit. He's that exact type of guy that everybody else kind of thinks he's over the hill. Maybe the Patriots pick him up for one last decent season and get what they can out of him. He's been in a similar system in Detroit with Matt Patricia, so he understands the defense a little bit better than somebody in that is just coming in cold or blind to the system. And I really think that he is that prototypical 3-4 nose tackle. A few years ago, 2018, 2017, he was one of the best run stuffing defensive linemen in all of football. He has prolific stats when it comes to run stops and run stop percentage and frequency that he's involved in running plays. From earlier on in his career, he would lead the league in run stops by a wide margin when he was with the Giants. So he can be a really effective run player. And I love to see them bring him in here to get another big body on the defensive line and also give Bo Allen some insurance, because last offseason they signed a similar guy like Bo Allen with Mike Pennell, and I thought Pennell was going to be this great player for them, and it didn't work out, right? He didn't even get out of camp with the Patriots. So I think that things can go a little bit awry when you don't expect it.
Jonathan Gutierrez here with the two-parter. Let's start with your thoughts on Jarrett Stidham and Mohamed Sanu working out together. We knew that Sanu and Cam had worked out together recently, and Cam has been seen with a couple other receivers, but Stidham now getting in the mix.
Yeah, it's like Stidham is kind of quietly lurking, right? It's not so much that he's not making the noise that Cam Newton is making. He's not making the hype videos. He's not making all the social media posts. And all of a sudden, you just see this little blip on the radar there from Mohamed Sanu on his Instagram story. It wasn't even something that he posted directly to his Instagram. He had to scroll through a bunch of stories to finally get to it. And then there's Stiddy just kind of chilling there. So I think that what Stidham is doing is honestly all the right things in the world. He's not coming out and making this personal or making this super aggressive pitch of I'm the starter, not Cam, and creating this kind of quarterback battle and controversy, which you don't want. He's kind of just quietly going about his business and saying, all right, if you're going to bring in Cam Newton, I'm just going to continue to work, and we'll see where where it lies at the end of training camp and who ends up winning the job in the end.
The second part of Jonathan's question, chances we lock up Tooney. So Patriots, are they going to reach a deal with Tooney? Deadline's this Wednesday, yeah?
Correct. It's tomorrow. It sounds like the biggest thing getting in the way of teams reaching long-term extensions with players on the franchise tag is the pandemic. A lot of teams are just super reluctant right now, Sierra, to give out that big money contract without knowing how long the pandemic is going to last, what the impact is going to be on the salary cap moving forward. Is it just going to be a big hit in 2021, or is the Players Association going to win that battle and they're going to stretch out the hits over multiple seasons? It's a lot of kind of financial stuff that's going into a lot of teams being silent with these contract extensions. 14 players signed to the franchise tag, 0 extensions so far for those guys. Dak Prescott, Joe Tooney, obviously, all in that category. So I think that we're not going to see a lot of extensions due to the pandemic. A lot of guys are probably going to play on that tag, but I don't see anything coming together here for the Patriots and Tooney in the next 24 hours.
Well, some more rumors surrounding the Patriots have included wide receiver Terrell Pryor, who is thinking about making a return to football. He's always loved Cam. He's reportedly interested in the Patriots. Do you think that that is a realistic scenario and move for the Patriots with this new cap?
Oh, man, if we have to go after guys like Terrell Pryor at this point, to me, it's just, I don't see it. I don't see how Terrell Pryor is any better than N'Keal Harry or Mohamed Sanu or Jacoby Myers or Damari Bird or any of these guys that they already have on the roster that have played football recently. Terrell Pryor, last time he played football was 2018. He's got a lot of raw athleticism. I'll give him that. He's had some good seasons, some great highlight catches on his tape as a receiver. But I think we can forget about the Terrell Pryors, forget about the Percy Harvins. I think they like the group that they have.
Another question here. Do you see a left tackle battle this season for the Patriots?
This season, no. I think Isaiah Wynn is pretty safe in that spot this season. Yannick Kajust hasn't even played a padded practice at the NFL level yet, let alone an NFL snap in a game, Sierra. So we got a long way to go before Yannick Kajust, I think, is in the conversation to be starting on that offensive line, barring injury, of course. But I do like Kajust. I think he's got a great skill set, but let's see him out there. Let's see what he can do first before we start pegging him into being a starter.
Nathan wants to know the starting tight end role. Who's going to have it? Devin Asiasi, Dalton Keene, Matt Lacoste. I'm taking Ryan Izzo out of the conversation.
Oh, wow. Nice. That's nice of him to include Ryan Izzo in there. If he's watching, he'll give a smile there. I think you know where I'm going with this one already, Syria. It's Devin Asiasi. I truly think that he's going to be a difference maker for this team. He can block a little bit, but certainly with his receiving skills, his ability to get up the field. Cam Newton did great with Greg Olsen in Carolina. Now, everybody would probably do good with Greg Olsen. He was a really good player in his heyday. But I think that Asiasi can be that sort of player for Cam that stretches the field vertically in the middle of the field, between the numbers, seams, post routes, crossers, things like that. I think Asiasi can run all those pretty effectively and has a little bit of juice there. So I'm excited to see those two work together.
Rookie running back, JJ Taylor. Do you expect him to make an impact for the Patriots?
It's tough for all of these undrafted guys. It's such a bad year. It's really unfair for a lot of these guys because some of these dudes, especially like a JJ Taylor, should probably be on an NFL roster or at least an NFL practice squad somewhere. But to make that case in such a shortened period of time with only really a couple of weeks of padded practice, if this is the way the schedule is going to go, the way that they've set it up moving forward, it's going to be tough for any undrafted guy to make the team, let alone a running back with how deep the Patriots are at that position. So he's going to have to absolutely, break out in camp. He's going to have to be a true training camp star, I think, to really be in the mix this year.
Do you know what Cam Newton's incentives are? So what stood out to you, because we know it's a super incentive laden deal for Cam Newton? Did any of them stand out to you as being interesting or intriguing?
So the funniest part about the Cam Newton deal is that Bill Belichick's a really smart guy, and he knows that the NFL's rules, it's really kind of simple. An unlikely to be earned incentive, something that doesn't hit your cap right away and hits the cap the next year if it's reached by the player, only needs to be just a tick above what it was before, right? So Cam Newton last year played 12.5% of the snaps in Carolina. So what's his first kicker in the incentives? 13% of the snaps. So that's the smartness you see from Bill Belichick, and he knows that Cam Newton is going to play 13% of the snaps. So he knows Cam is going to get that money, but at least that money won't hit the books until 2021. Other than that, really the incentives are banking on Cam Newton returning to MVP form. He's going to have to make an all-pro team. He's going to have to lead the Patriots to the Super Bowl even to get to all the way up to that $7.5 million figure of that total value of that contract. So odds are they're probably not going to have to pay Cam all that money, but it's really funny to see how they work in the playing time escalators to have him just a little bit more than what he had last year so it doesn't hit the 2020 book.
Ashwin putting a little bit of a bad omen on Marcus Cannon here, but in a case where Cannon might get cut or injured, do you prefer Cajuste or Cunningham as right tackle?
Okay, first of all, Marcus Cannon's not getting cut. So we can just kind of throw that one out there right now. He's not going to get cut. I know his contract situation is what it is, but he's still a starting caliber right tackle, and I'd be pretty shocked if they can't at least trade him or rework his contract to lower that cap number or give him a pay cut or have him agree to that. Who would I prefer there? It's really not great pickings from either one of these options. I think I would rather just go with Cajuste and see what the young guy has, because I did like his college tape a lot at West Virginia. And if he can prove that he can be solid in the NFL, then I think that they might have found something there. So I would probably go with Cajuste. Cunningham, I can't really figure out. He was on the team all of last season. They played Marshall Newhouse over him. He never really was able to get on the field. So I'm not so sold that Cunningham is really a part of the equation here.
We all know training camp's a time for us to hype up players. Last year it was Gunner, Jake Bailey. Those were the big talks. And Brady wants to know, who do you think will be a standout in camp this season? Hopefully we get to see it with our own eyes.
I know, exactly. I think the one guy that a lot of people are going to be really surprised about how good he is right away is Kyle Duggar. I'm really convinced that Kyle Duggar is going to have a role on this team defensively as a rookie, even in this heightened offseason in this situation that we are in. And I think that he's getting slept on. Everybody's excited about the tight ends, right? We get it. Everybody wants the pass catchers. I'm excited about the tight ends too. But Duggar really can play center field at an elite level already, I think, based off of his college tape and his experience back there playing over the top. And if he can play over the top effectively, then he can start to kind of chip into some of those Duron Harmon snaps that left when he got traded to Detroit. And it really frees up Devin McCourty to be a little bit more what he was last year or the year before with Harmon in the mix, where he can come down to the line of scrimmage, he can play in the box, he can play more of a robber role instead of always playing center field and always being that post safety help. If they can get a rookie like Duggar to be able to do that and just provide that post safety help consistently for guys on the outside, then they can really start to move Devin around and turn him back into a matchup weapon, into a chess piece on that defense. So I'm really excited to see what Duggar has. I think he plays a lot more in his rookie season than people are giving it credit for right now.
What position battle are you most excited to watch in camp?
I'll preface it, other than quarterbacks, right? I mean,
quarterback's going to be exciting, but
that's going to be awesome. To me, it's the cornerbacks group, not quarterbacks, cornerbacks. Mm-hmm. Biggest reason why I think this is a big time sort of prove it year for Juwan Williams and maybe even JC Jackson to a degree as well, who's looking for that payday soon, right? So I think that really that battle between JC Jackson, Juwan Williams, Jason McCourty, all those guys behind Stephon Gilmore that are outside primary corners, not slot guys like John Jones or Chung. What can they do with those guys? They have so many bodies back there. Are all of them going to fit in? Are all of them going to stick around? Are they going to pay JC Jackson eventually? What's sort of the plan there to have multiple players that have very, very good skill sets, very highly touted players like a Jawan Williams, a second round pick, a top 50 guy. What's their plan there? I'm really excited to see how they have all these defensive backs, corners, safeties. We got all of them in droves. How can you possibly have enough roster spots for all of them? How can you have enough spots on the field for all of them? You can only play 11 at once, Belichick. So what are you going to do with all these guys? That's really what I'm most excited about.
And it's also exciting to think about the steps that N'Keal Harry can take this season. I know everyone has their hopes really high that he's going to make major strides in his second season, especially now with the addition of Cam Newton. Jonathan wants to know what you think his ceiling is.
I think his ceiling is a solid year, something like 650, 700 yards receiving. I don't think he's going to go for 1,000. But I think the one thing that you will see with him, if Cam Newton is the quarterback, and even if Jared Stidham is the quarterback, I think there's going to be a little bit more chemistry between those guys than what you saw last year with Brady, and a little bit more trust and sort of, ability to throw those back shoulders, to throw those jump balls down the field, and just kind of put the ball in the right spot for him to go ahead and use his body and make a play down the field, where he is probably going to wear coverage a little bit still. I don't think he's going to all of a sudden, because of one off season with the footwork king in Houston, is going to become this all, elite separator, right? I don't think he's going to become one of those guys overnight, but if they can turn him into a Des Bryant type of player who can win down the field, who can win at the line of scrimmage on screens and other types of things where they scheme the ball into his hands, I think it can be exciting for him, and I think he'll have a pretty good year.
Leon thinks that the Patriots needs more weapons on offense. Do you think that the Patriots can trade for a big name weapon? Odell Beckham Jr., OJ Howard, David Njoku?
No, not really. I mean, I think that there's a mutual admiration society that exists with Odell Beckham Jr. and Bill Belichick. I think that Odell Beckham Jr. would love to play some here in New England at some point, right? Whether it's at the end of his career, kind of in the twilight years, chasing a ring or whatever it might be, I don't know. But I think that he would love to play here for Bill Belichick and love to be on the Patriots. But really, cap-wise, and why is Cleveland giving him up? It doesn't make any sense, and it really is hard to get to that point. I like the Njoku trade for the Patriots if they can get him at the right price. But again, I've been saying this the whole time. I just wouldn't overpay him with what you just invested in the two rookie tight ends. But if you can go out and get an Njoku for a 5th round pick, then I'm all for it. If they're asking for a second or a third, then I think you roll with the rookies.
And I skipped over a question here from Ashwin. Who do you like better at nose tackle, Bo Allen or Bill Murray?
Well, I think Bo Allen's got the experience card over Bill Murray, obviously. And I think that's going to be where you start, right? And I think Bo Allen is similarly kind of has that Lawrence Guy type of feel to him, where wasn't a guy that a lot of people talked about. It's kind of bounced around in his career, but when you really watch the tape, he's just a fundamentally sound run defender, guy that can take on double teams, that can eat up blockers, that can shed with his hands and his upper body power pretty effectively, and just make plays and plug gaps. And I know it's not the sexiest thing in the world. It's not Aaron Donald pinning his ears back or, rushing the passer or whatever, but it gets the job done. And you let those linebackers stay free. You let them run crazy around the field, and those are the guys that are going to make the splash plays for this defense. And I think that Bo Allen and Lawrence Guy gives them a really stout 1-2 punch there in the middle.
We have a question about Cam Newton's recent interview, his roundtable on YouTube. Did you watch it?
I did watch it a little bit, but not only like the excerpts that have been on social media.
He calling replacing Tom Brady the elephant in the room. His thoughts when he signed with the Patriots and admitted to now looking on the schedule who the Patriots are playing this year and the teams that passed up on him this offseason. What were your thoughts on just the vibe and the mindset that Cam Newton seems to have from this interview? Because to me, he seems super motivated.
I love it. And listen, I love Cam Newton as a player, and I'm really excited for him to be here. I think the one thing that you will have to find out in New England, though, is that when you make videos like this, there's going to be a ton of people on the other side of this argument that are going to say, just shut up and play, right? Just all the talk. What is it worth, right? What are you actually doing? Are you actually working on your craft? Are you actually, out there every single day practicing and working on your throwing mechanics and working on the little things? At what point in time does it become all talk? Right. And I think that's what we're going to find out here quickly once we get back to camp has this been all talk, or is Cam for real? Is he really reinvigorated, motivated, highly motivated? Where is he at? And I'm excited to see exactly how this comes to fruition, because I think there'll be a lot of people, especially the 2 to 6 show on 98.5, who are going to say that, this is just all talk. This is all just show for the camera. This is all just kind of the theatrics of Cam Newton that they weren't interested in. But I think at the same time, it can be very, very motivating. And you see players that can really feed off of that type of energy. And I think Tom Brady is one of them. He's done it his entire career, 6th round pick, got passed on, the Brady 6, all this kind of stuff. He's sort of played with that chip on his shoulder his entire career. Now, Cam, it took a little bit longer because he was a 1st round pick, a Heisman Trophy winner, wasn't the same pedigree. So it took a little bit longer for him to be insulted or for him to feel that way. And now we can kind of see it late in his career.
We'll get to the last question here. What defensive ends do you think make the roster?
Defensive ends. Well, I think that the biggest question going into it is, does Byron Cowart take a step forward that he can really solidify himself and hold off some of the undrafted guys that they brought in, especially a guy like a Bill Murray, who we previously mentioned. The Patriots play a 3-4, so their defensive linemen are kind of all bigger guys. They don't really have any of those 4-3 end types on the roster right now that are a little bit smaller and made for pass rushing. So a lot of these guys are interior guys. And I would say that at the end of the day, Adam Butler, Lawrence Guy, those guys with Bo Allen in the middle is probably going to be your starting defensive line in week 1.
Well, we'll be back here on Friday. So if we didn't get to your question in the live chat today, don't worry. We'll be back in just a couple days to answer your questions. In the meantime, subscribe to our YouTube channel here at Patriots Press Pass so you never miss our videos or anytime we go live. And be sure to follow us on Twitter at Patriots CLNS as well so you get all of our updates on our content. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on Friday.